This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
It's time for the Weekend Review on this Sunday, January 7th, 2024. Time to talk about the Rumble. Time to talk about what's going on this week as we get another week closer to that Royal Rumble event, which is only coming to us, 3 weeks? 3 weeks or so. So it is coming quickly as we were, my God, it feels like Survivor Series was 3 years ago, doesn't it? But there was that big gap, and now we're here just a few weeks away from a major event that WWE is putting on. A lot of people tell me, and you've heard it too, it's their favorite event of the year, even more so than WrestleMania. And it's just a great format, right? The Royal Rumble match is just a perfect format for a wrestling event. And we're going to get to experience that once again in just a few short weeks here as wrestling fans. And one thing I want to say about it, as I say every year, and it continues to make no sense, is how people qualify for the event is they just declare it. As I've said, it's like Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy. It just makes no sense. I mean, if all it took was just declaring it, you would have people on a first come, first serve basis screaming it on Twitter, screaming it on Raw and SmackDown. Oh, no, I said it first. I declared it first. I mean, it's just preposterous. Now, of course, I also don't believe that there should be 60 men in a one-on-one qualifying 30 match qualifying, tournament or qualifying month, right? I don't need 8 qualifying matches for the Rumble every show. I'm also not advocating for that. What I'm advocating for is just not telling us at all. How about that? WWE just doesn't tell us at all. Now, again, how would wrestlers say that they are going to be in the Rumble, and how do they push for the Rumble if they don't even know they're a part of it? Make it a lottery. That's it. And we don't know who picked what number. Remember that little, what do you call it? Those, the things you turn and they pick the number out of it. I don't know what you call those things, but it's like a tumbler or something, and they just pull the number out and there you go. And you're that number. But except it would be names in there. It wouldn't be numbers, because if they picked numbers, then they'd already have the names. So it's really simple. And obviously we wouldn't know who those people are. It would just be everyone in the organization that's an active wrestler in this pot that you just essentially pull from a hat. That way it's even across the board. You can't just declare it, and we don't have to suffer through, 30 qualifying matches. So I prefer that, and just being a complete mystery as to who's in the Rumble. That to me would be much more entertaining and also much more unpredictable, and also look less stupid that you have people just willy-nilly declaring themselves for the Rumble. And I love the Rumble. Don't get me wrong. It is a fun match, if not the most fun match of the year. Same for the women. I have issues with the rules too, like how people who are eliminated can somehow also eliminate people who are still in the match, and how you don't have a certain amount of time to enter the match. So you essentially could just hang out on the outside until the match gets down to 2 men or 1 person, and then you just walk in. How does that work? I mean, there's just got to be basic rules. People who are eliminated cannot eliminate anybody else, even if they throw them over the top rope. And you also have X amount of time to get into the ring, or you are eliminated. Just basic things, but they don't want that because they feel it'll restrict them. And I just think it's just this elementary. It's not even basic. It's elementary level rules I'd like for the Rumble. But all that aside, as I just have issues with the Rumble and declaring it and all that, it's still going to be a lot of fun. We only have a handful of people who have declared themselves for the Rumble, so we know who those people are. But there's a lot of uncertainty. Certainly a lot of individuals we don't know who is going to debut, who could return, Same for the women as well. We know Bianca Belair said she's going to be in the Rumble this past week when she confronted Damage Control. Bayley's in the Rumble. She declared herself as well and said that she's going to be the one to take down Rhea Ripley. So we have a lot of women who are starting to declare themselves or at least let us know they're in the Rumble. And interestingly enough, this past week, we got a triple threat to determine who is going to face Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble for the Undisputed Championship. LA Knight, Randy Orton, and of course, we got AJ Styles. And fun match, by the way. Really good match. I mean, can someone just remind AJ Styles he's 40-some years old? Does he even know? Apparently, he has no clue because he certainly doesn't look or act like it. AJ Styles, let me just say, could easily go on another run as champion. If they ever wanted to go down that road, they could. AJ Styles is that good. It's suddenly like he's been rebirthed. He attended the same rehabilitation center as Randy Orton, apparently. It has been a joy to watch him. Randy Orton hasn't lost a step. And LA Knight as well continues to shine in these matches. And he got busted open. Nice to see blood, I have to say, even if it was the hard way. I mean, I hope he's okay. But if it wasn't the hard way and by design, I love blood when necessary and when needed, not all the time. I think blood adds a factor of drama that has been missing from Hell in a Cell for the last 10 years. You know, that it really hurts sometimes in some matches when there's no blood. But that said, this match with those three men on SmackDown was a boatload of fun. But Roman Reigns comes out to spoil it, and then Nick Aldis tells Paul Heyman, hey, guess what? Your boy just earned himself a fatal four-way at the Royal Rumble. And my point bringing all this up is to give you my thoughts on the match, but also to let you know that I don't know if all three of these men facing Roman Reigns are also going to be in the Rumble. I know that in the past it hasn't disqualified people, but in the minds of fans, if you're in a match that's not the Rumble, typically you're not in the Rumble as well. So I would imagine, though, that the Rumble goes on last. So if the Royal Rumble goes on last, because that has been the tradition, even though Roman Reigns is champion, I think the Royal Rumble winner is more important so that they can have the person point to the WrestleMania sign while the fireworks go off, which is another pet peeve of mine. And even the wrestlers bring it up on camera a lot. It's ridiculous. But I know why they do it. It's a photo op. It's just company mandated. I understand it, even though it looks, I hate it. But that said, I would imagine the title match with Roman Reigns, the Fatal 4-Way, goes on first, and then the Royal Rumble will follow. I would think that the Royal Rumble, by the way, is going to start with the Women's Royal Rumble and end with the men's. That's how they've done it in the past. But my point about all this is, to come back to it, I don't know if it disqualifies them or if we're going to see also AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and LA Knight in the Royal Rumble itself. I hope we do. Those are three really big names that I don't know if it would be a good idea to exempt them. The only way that the Royal Rumble doesn't end with the Royal Rumble match itself, in my mind, is if The Rock interferes and costs Roman Reigns the championship, and then we're off to the races with The Rock and Roman officially. So if The Rock is going to appear, that match with Roman Reigns will be on last and actually supersede the Rumble. That's my thought. So be very weary of the positioning of that match. It will tell you everything you need to know about The Rock's appearance, in my mind, for the Royal Rumble. So should be a hell of a lot of fun either way. And this Royal Rumble has so many other things going on, of course, other than just the title match, which, again, Roman Reigns could lose, but I think that it is still going to be a Roman Reigns victory. Early prediction there. But when you look at the Royal Rumble, there's still a whole lot of guys we don't know debuts. I keep talking about MJF. People keep laughing at me. I want to see it. I know that a lot of people, for some reason, don't want to see it. He would be an amazing asset to the company, but it depends if he's getting surgery, if he's really hurt, or if he signed a contract behind the scenes with AEW, all that stuff that's going on. Who knows? I would still say MJF probably doesn't debut at the Rumble. I think he is going to get an offer from Tony Khan that he can't refuse money-wise. He'll blow WWE out of the water because they need him more than WWE does. But I'm really looking forward to this Rumble for the surprises, for the women's debuts. I would very much think, very much so, that you're going to have Jade Cargill debut in this match and make a big impact. Probably not win, but make a big impact. Maybe confront Nia Jax when Nia Jax is dominating the match and Nia Jax is suddenly confronted with Jade Cargill. That's going to be a fun moment. I think that'll happen. Of course, Trish Stratus is rumored to be coming back for another run in WWE. What about Lita? She seems to make a cameo every year, so that's very possible as well. Obviously no Charlotte Flair. Hopefully no Ronda Rousey. I really don't want Ronda Rousey. People have been speculating about Alexa Bliss. Honestly, I don't know. Looking at her X feed, I don't know if she seems even in a right headspace to return. Even if she physically could, which I don't even know if that's the case. I don't know if she had a C-section. I don't know if she had a natural birth. I don't know if she even has the desire to return at this time, as she's with her child who's an infant. I still don't think Alexa Bliss will return at the Rumble. I just don't. She seems to be very much about her child, and good for her. I mean, really. So I don't think we'll see an Alexa Bliss re-debut or return at the Rumble. Of course, you could have call-ups. You have Cora Jade out there. You have Tiffany Stratton out there from NXT. I don't think you're going to see probably more than one or two of the NXT women come out here. But at the same time, in years past, you've seen with the Women's Royal Rumble that they struggle to meet that 30 number because the women's division has historically been a little bit thin, and they have leaned on the stars of yesteryear to help make sure they reach that number of 30. So perhaps they do bring up more NXT women. But when you look at the roster, they do struggle every year to meet that 30. They could bring back Molly Holly, and they could bring back Jacqueline. They could bring back, just those cameo appearances that aren't going to win but are fun in the moment, and you're just like, oh, okay, that's how they filled that spot and this spot and that spot, so they don't look so damn thin. But I hope as the years go on, those cameo appearances decrease while the actual active day-to-day talent are on the rise, because that's the way it should be. All right, well, I think that was a long intro just to say welcome to the WWE podcast, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well here. Up here in the Northeast, we are dealing with a snowstorm. First one of the year, believe it or not. First significant one, I should say, of the year. 6 inches of snow here, but 6, maybe 7. I don't know. But some of you may look at that and say, oh, that's nothing. Others of you are probably listening to that saying, that would shut down my whole city for a week. Just depends on where you are. For us, it's just another day in the park. Roads are clear 5 minutes after this happens. Yet at the same time, people panic, and you look at the grocery stores, and some of the bread and milk are just gone. I don't know what world they're living in, but in the one I'm in, we have snow plows. We have road salt. We also have this thing that's burning a few million miles away called the sun that does an excellent job of getting rid of the snow. So, I'm not sure what universe that we've overlapped with, but I share this universe with these people every year, every winter, where they develop this fear that they'll just be tunneled in their house and we're going to get 8.5 feet of snow, and they're going to have to, dig a tunnel to their car and somehow make it to the grocery store, or their whole family will die. I don't know what it is. I know I'm being super dramatic, but if you're in the Northeast, okay, I'm speaking for the Northeast. I'm not speaking for anyone else. I know I don't have a ton of listeners in the Northeast, but we do have some. If you live really in the northern hemisphere, in the north part of the United States, okay, you understand what winter is. You know how to get through it. 6 inches of snow is a joke. You still got to clean it up. It's a pain, but it's just, you don't blink. Schools don't usually close. It's just, you take that same amount and you put it in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and, people are having heart attacks in the street. It's like aliens are attacking, So it's funny. And up here, when people react like that, you're either from out of town or you just love the dramatics of a snowstorm, and you just get, I don't know, it's like some kind of reflex. Anyway, that said, I hope you guys decide to join us on an ad-free experience, which can be found on Patreon, patreon.com/WWE podcast. We also have an Apple Podcast subscription for a 7-day free trial, but that also gives you ad-free and the exclusive After Dark show that is done every single week. And it's a non-PG version of the show. And Anthony DeMarco hosts that every single week, where he picks a topic and discusses it for about 30 minutes. And it's a lot of fun. That also is going to be not just exclusive to Patreon and to Apple Podcast subscribers, but also on Spreaker. There's this new thing that they came up with. If you have the Spreaker app and you listen to us through Spreaker, I know some of you do. It's not exactly the top media player you guys use to listen to us, but I'm telling you, because you can go ad free there too, starting this week with this week's release. If you support the show, you can become a supporter. If you look at the show, there should be a button there that says, support the show. We're going to be releasing ad-free content there starting this week. All right. So if you support the show, you can absolutely become a supporter of the show on the Spreaker app itself and get yourself ad-free there. So that'll be starting this week. In fact, this should be the very first episode that's going to be going ad-free on Spreaker for the very first time. All right. Well, that's the intro. I hope you guys are, again, all doing well. And we're now into the thick of the winter. So let's talk a little bit more about this week in WWE. Now, I've been very intrigued, switching over to Raw for a moment, about Drew McIntyre and what his loss to Seth Rollins is going to mean. I, for one, think it's a positive, even though I predicted and was hoping for a Drew McIntyre victory in the world title match on Raw. In my mind, this now forces Drew McIntyre forces him to take a path, choose a path. Are you going to choose the high road, or are you going to choose the low road, darkness? Where are you going? I think we're going to see this take Drew into a spiral. And I don't mean a spiral in the sense that his career is going down the tubes. He's going to lose every match. We're not going to see him on TV. I know his contract apparently is in flux right now with WWE. So that actually could play a factor. But if he resigns and all's well behind the scenes when it comes to paperwork, I think you could take this and make it a fun change for his character in a way that just turns him into a monster, where he does heinous things and becomes just this, ruthless SOB, and just says, I tried to do this for you guys. You don't respect me. You booed me. I've sacrificed this for my family who are back home. I mean, you could turn everything on its head here. And I hope they do. And he stops bringing out that damn sword, by the way, too, which I didn't like as a babyface. It was always ridiculous for a number of reasons. I understand the visual, and I like Drew McIntyre, and he was trying to be different, and I guess it did fit his character in some respect, but we all knew he wasn't actually going to use it as a weapon ever. And we all knew if he ever tried, it would never actually connect with anyone. Of course not. But knowing that it never would, and it would just be used as a prop, a dangerous one, but one that would just be used as a prop, immediately just kind of neutered the damn thing for me. But I think that this could change even his music. He could grow out his beard or shave his beard, just some kind of visual change. So that's my hope, that everything's signed behind the scenes and we could see a nasty Drew McIntyre return. So we will see. We'll see what the world title picture holds for Royal Rumble. We're going to get a little, obviously some more answers come Monday Night Raw in just a couple of days here, or one day really. And I'm very intrigued by it. I actually thought that the world title match was going to be the one that's the Fatal 4-Way, not the Undisputed Championship with Roman Reigns. But, that's fine with me. I don't hate it. But I was ready for a change. I mean, I like Seth. I do. He is one of the greatest of our generation right now. Love it or hate it, he is. And I was just ready for a change, and apparently WWE's not. Now, bouncing back to SmackDown quickly, I want to just touch on LA Knight, because I put this out on a video, by the way, for patrons who were on the SmackDown tier and above today. I was just about to snowblow my driveway, and I was like, you know what? I have this feeling about LA Knight. I need to get it out before it leaves my brain. And I asked the patrons on my video that, it feels like LA Knight has been not forgotten, but kind of kicked down a few pegs in the minds of fans. I mean, just a few months ago, LA Knight was the talk of the town. He was the darling of the WWE fans. He was the guy that people believed could beat Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship. And then, through no fault of his own, many returns happened. And not just any returns, legendary returns. Guys that are Hall of Famers returning. And those being three massive ones that took the attention off of Knight and put it squarely on these three men. Randy Orton, CM Punk, and of course, The Rock. And now the fans are divided. Their attention is divided. And you hear the reactions for LA Knight not dwindling, but they're muted compared to what they were. And yes, some of that I think has to do with his opponents in the ring that are also beloved. AJ Styles and of course Randy Orton, who it's really hard to boo Randy Orton, even when he's a heel and he's really good, and he can be damn good as a heel. I think he did his best work with Edge a few years ago during the pandemic. But when it comes to those guys, fans' loyalty is going to lie with the guy that's been there longer, usually, and that's going to be with Randy Orton. So his opponents aren't helping him because they're beloved. But also the attention is now, Rock and Roman, yes. And Punk's back on Raw. When's he going to face Rollins? That kind of stuff. Is Punk going to win the Rumble? So LA Knight is still in the main event picture, but he's hanging on by a thread. And not his career, just the focus of fans seems to have shifted. And it's not their fault. It's not the fault of anyone, but LA Knight must be like, damn, I was just catching fire. And, these three massive names have to come back. Now, I don't know what this means for LA Knight moving forward. I think through WrestleMania, there's almost no chance he wins anything major. He might if he enters the Rumble. He might be one of the final 4 or final 5 in the Royal Rumble and have a few moments where oh my God, he could win if he's in the Rumble. He has almost no chance of winning the Undisputed Championship at the Rumble against Roman. But, after that, after they settle through and get LA Knight out of the main event picture, a lot of people are speculating he could be part of the United States title picture. And I think that's a very nice place for him to go. If you're not going to put him in the title match, and there's no chance that's happening, put him against Logan Paul. That, my friends, could be a fun program. LA Knight and Logan Paul, United States Championship, WrestleMania. Yeah, that to me would be a lot of fun. That's the place, honestly, a lot of us thought he would be anyway. And they bounced him from the United States tournament. Remember that? And then he wasn't a part of it. And, he got distracted and did, then face Roman Reigns. And then now he's still facing the Bloodline. But I believe the card for WrestleMania, if you looked at it, it's probably LA Knight versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship. And I'm with LA Knight winning at WrestleMania. I think that's a very, very strong possibility when you look at that. So LA Knight fans, if you're thinking he's going to be in the main event, you probably need to think again. But if you want him in the semi-main event, still holding a major singles championship, I think you're going to get your wish at WrestleMania against Logan Paul for the United States Championship. And I have no issue with that whatsoever. The promos between these two are going to be a whole lot of fun. And the match should be really good. So, Kevin Owens, sorry, buddy. Your match with Logan Paul at the Royal Rumble is it's a fait accompli, as they say. There's no chance. The outcome is predetermined in a way that the fans are just going, yeah, there's no chance. And I have no issue with that. So, a little bit more on SmackDown. I'm not going to go through everything. Sometimes I do. I feel like hitting on more big topics tonight about the talking points this week for WWE. But the return of AOP, Paul Ellering, and Karrion Kross. I mean, I have no issue with this. They interrupted the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley, who have yet to have a name. I don't believe they do, nor do I think that the Paul Ellering and Karrion Kross union have a name either. So, but I really like this segment because I think that Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, they were trending heel. They actually kind of turned heel. Now they're back to babyface because WWE needs them as babyfaces. Lord knows we have more than enough heel factions, men and women, okay? Enough. We need babyfaces to balance them out. And AOP, back after nearly 4 years, I can't believe it's been 4 years, attacking the Street Profits, Bobby Lashley, after they were declaring what they were going to do for 2024, which was being Lashley saying he's going to be back to being the Almighty and capturing Tag Team Gold, with the Street Profits putting Judgment Day on notice. And then they get flattened by AOP. And, of course, Karrion Kross, who has a new finish that he debuted. I don't know what it's called. Some of you out there probably know. On Bobby Lashley. Really nice segment here. We don't know a whole lot about them yet. I think that next week we'll probably get a little bit of a promo, and we should understand what the union's about, what their mission is, that kind of thing. And, of course, Scarlett, who dyed her hair black now. And this to me is going to be fun. I think Karrion Kross, as the leader of this group, is going to work wonders or do wonders for his career compared to his past iterations. And this to me is a fun pairing with the Street Profits and Karrion Kross's group. You know you're going to get quality wrestling, and AOP, being the huge men that they are going to be able to balance out the flip-flop and flies of the Street Profits. And I have no issue. And I think that this is, again, going to be one of the best things that Karrion Kross has done in his career. It already is. Yeah, we're a long ways away from that horrific face mask. Remember that whole debacle that Vince McMahon made Karrion Kross wear, and then he gets fired. Right? So we're a long ways away from that. I think Karrion Kross is going to fit into this leader of a heel faction role very nicely. He can talk. He could wrestle. He's got a great look. I think this is going to work out very nicely. So, now bouncing back to Raw, I did talk about this a lot on Monday night or Tuesday night with my Raw review, but I just want to touch on it again with Nia Jax and Becky Lynch. I still like this. This is overachieving for me. Overachieving in a way that I never thought I would say, given it's Nia Jax. And that I am enjoying what she's been delivering on the mic and in the ring. And I think they've adopted a little bit of my recommendation. I very much doubt they listen to this show, but it's perhaps they came to the same conclusion I did a number of months ago when she came back. The idea around Nia Jax, the aura around Nia Jax, and this has to actually bother her on a personal level. It just does. It does. Is that she hurts people. That she can't wrestle. That she is a danger in the ring. And to some degree, I think that was true. She wasn't responsible for every injury that happened, but some of it was carelessness on her part, but not all of it. And I think she unfairly gets a lot of the blame for hurting some of the talent she was involved with in her matches in her, her previous run before she got fired. And but my hope was that when she came back is that she would take that mentality and the framing that fans already look at you through and turn it on them and say, yes, you know what? I'm not here to wrestle. I'm here to hurt people. You know how many people I've hurt? And then start listing off the people that have gotten injured. Own it. Use it against the fans. Don't hide from it. And they've kind of done that a little bit with Becky and her, when Nia Jax, and it was an actual accident, breaking the nose of Becky Lynch, which prevented us from getting Ronda and Becky one-on-one, which is still a travesty to this day. Because they were supposed to fight that Sunday at Survivor Series, Ronda and Becky one-on-one, which never happened. And still didn't happen. But that was an accident that they're bringing up and using as a match with Becky. And it's been working very well. Instead of hiding from these injuries, use them. And I think Nia Jax could continue to use this framing moving forward, that she's here to hurt people. Not here to wrestle. Not here to entertain. I'm here to cause injury. Imagine someone saying that. Imagine that. I don't know if WWE would look at that as too much over the line. Too exposing of the business. I don't know. I mean, they've done things that are much more embarrassing. But if they imagine somebody coming out, and this doesn't have to be Nia, but she's a good candidate given her history. But somebody coming out and saying, hey, I'm not here to entertain you guys. I'm not even here to wrestle. You know what I'm here to do? Injure. I'm here to hurt people. Everyone that I face in the ring, I want to put on the shelf. That's my goal. Imagine someone saying that's their declarative statement. No one's ever done that, I don't think. We've heard people say, it's not going to be a fight. It's, or I'm going to hurt you on Sunday. Like, yeah, we've heard that, but in kind of a softer way, meaning, yeah, you guys are just going to have a fight, right? But when you dig down to it, it doesn't mean that they're actually trying to injure the person. But imagine someone's statement being that. I think it could really work. Especially if it's followed through, not every time, because then you'd have no one to work with. Everyone would be on the shelf. But if your goal every time is to try to hurt somebody, where you put somebody's arm in a chair and you quote unquote break it, or you get some blood capsules and pretend to break someone's nose, right? You can still do it in safe ways that also doesn't have the talent off TV because they're injured. I think it could really work. Have someone so nasty, so selfish, that their goal is to only hurt people. That would be awesome. And I think Nia Jax really has some untapped potential when it comes to that. They're scratching the surface with Becky, and they're taking the right approach with that, using the previous accidental injury as being intentional. But I think she could take it further, or at least continue what she's doing, because it's working. And for Becky Lynch, how crazy is this? Becky Lynch, right now, is in one of her most relevant programs in over a year, with Nia Jax, of all people. It's really a testament to Becky and Nia Jax. Really is. Becky Lynch has been, as I said, most of 2023 it's kind of overshadowed with the overexposure of the Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch program. But she also did a lot of good in NXT, helping out younger talent, get exposure, working with Becky. She did a lot of good over there. And I think that when you look at her body of work, it speaks for itself. I mean, Becky Lynch is a future Hall of Famer. Let's be real. Of course she is. But I feel like, got a lot left to go. So, and who knows? Maybe she'll have a little program with, or interaction with Mercedes Moné if she debuts or returns at the Women's Royal Rumble. I still think, by the way, I know I'm jumping everywhere tonight, guys. This is just how my brain's working today. So, if Sasha Banks, and I still think she does come back, I will make the bold prediction that is not popular right now among circles of fans. I still think that she's coming to WWE. I still think that she looks at this and says, you know what? It's been long enough. Vince is gone. Kevin Dunn's gone. The Vince guys are weeding themselves out. And WrestleMania 40 is on the horizon. And it's in Philly. And WWE is the hottest wrestling product in the industry right now. The women's division does need a little bit of a jolt. It does, on both sides. What bigger way to do that than bringing back Sasha Banks? I think you could really give the women's division a massive boost by bringing back Sasha. I think she would end up on the Raw or the SmackDown brand, but to take the spot of Charlotte while she's gone with injury till summertime. And I'll talk about Charlotte in a minute too. But my prediction is an unpopular one, but I think Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, comes back at the Women's Royal Rumble. And I know a lot of you will hold me to it, and I'm probably wrong. I don't think I'm right. I really don't. But I'm going to take that position because there is evidence to believe that they have led us astray on purpose. That, oh yeah, talks fell through, wink, wink. So, but speaking of Charlotte, I want to touch on her quickly. Now, she wasn't a part of This Week in WWE's programming per se, but she's been doing a lot of social media posting about her her journey back already, her surgery that was successful from what I understand, her physical therapy that she has started already, and she's already walking. But there's a long way to go because that was, her knee injury was pretty serious, and reattaching ligaments is no joke, and the therapy is no joke. So I've really been enjoying Charlotte's videos, and I don't know how I stumbled upon them or got interested in them, because typically I don't really follow that kind of thing. But watching the physical therapy part of it, that's just raw, uncut, not WWE produced, no salt and pepper added to it, so to speak. It's just raw footage of a wrestler that looks human, not produced, no makeup, no music, no crowd, no nothing, no fireworks, just doing what a lot of people do going through physical therapy. And I think it's something that, and I put this on Twitter, and some people disagreed. I don't know how, but that the rehabilitation process that the women go through and the men, everyone, needs to be looked at more. Meaning, I think fans dismiss it, and I've been guilty of this too, as just, oh yeah, you get your surgery, and then you sit at home and you wait for your leg, your arm, or your shoulder, or your whatever, your toe, your face to heal, and then you come back. I don't think we really give the real rehabilitation process its due, or the respect that it's deserving of, because that is hell. I have never had to go through, so I'm not speaking from firsthand experience, but I don't need to know what this is like. It's got to be hell. Observing what, even just Charlotte's going through to get back is no fun. It's day in, day out, physical therapy, trying to also keep your body in shape, but also not trying to overdo it where you re-injure yourself. And the grueling process of trying to come back from injury. I don't think as fans we recognize that enough. The dedication it takes, the pain and suffering that a lot of that physical therapy is, and the emotional part of it too, being away from the craft you love, especially before WrestleMania 40. It's got to be awful. It's got to be awful. And I think a great example of this, showing fans what it's really like, that they've used to their advantage, is Triple H's return in 2002 to Madison Square Garden. If you remember that video package, I even remember the name of the song they used for the video package. It was A Beautiful Day by U2. And if you haven't seen that, go watch it, guys. This is back in 2002. So many of you who are new fans obviously think that's ancient. But to me, it feels like a couple years ago. But when Triple H left, he blew out his quad, infamously, just hitting Jericho from behind at a tag match. And he was out for 8 months. But the video package of him on his way back was so powerful because it was a behind-the-scenes look at the things you don't think about as fans. You just think about, oh, when are they getting back? Right? And I've been guilty of this too, as I said. As fans, we just are like, oh, they're out, damn. All right, I'll care more about it when I hear that you're close to ready. You know what I mean? And I don't think we recognize how hard it is to get to that point. And it humanizes them. And I think that's what helped with that video package with Triple H. You saw him in the gym doing physical therapy, struggling. He was at that point, really blossoming in a relationship with Stephanie, that kind of thing, and just humanizing them. And then Triple H left, the hottest heel in the company, in 2001, and came back, the hottest babyface in the company, in 2002. Just powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. I don't think it's solely because of that video, but I mean, some of it has to do with just, when a heel leaves and then there's a long period of time and they come back, I mean, they're usually greeted with cheers because the fans are just happy to see them. But that reaction in Madison Square Garden for Triple H in 2002, in January of 2002, so my God, 22 years ago almost, was something that we'll never forget. I mean, Triple H says it's one of his top moments of his career. It was awesome. But anyway, circling back to today, I think that with Charlotte and the fans seeing what she's going through can only help her. It's probably therapeutic in a way for her to show us what she's doing behind the scenes, but also for us and to see what really goes on. Because maybe some of you, just like myself, have never luckily had to go through physical therapy. And it shows us what it takes. Some of it anyway, a glimpse, a snapshot. But all right, well, I've gone off the rails tonight, guys. I really have. I don't know where I've been. I go into detail about SmackDown. I'm feeling spicy tonight. One thing I will say about Santos Escobar, he beats Kevin Owens in the U.S. tournament. Kevin Owens defeats Santos Escobar to win the United States title tournament. So Santos beat Bobby Lashley with a roll-up. I had no problem with that. I thought that was great. But Kevin Owens beating Santos Escobar in 16 minutes and 35 seconds with a stunner was really good. And then the interaction with Logan Paul after that was also a lot of fun. And Logan Paul getting knocked out with the cast on Kevin Owens' arm was also a nice touch as well. And again, this will be a fun program with Logan Paul and Kevin Owens, but I don't think it's going to last long because you're going to have LA Knight, who's probably going to step front and center in the next 4 to 6 weeks to face Logan Paul at WrestleMania, or at least start the build to it. So, yeah. All right. We got, what else here? Michin versus Io Sky for the Women's Championship. I mean, come on now. Io Sky wins. Almost no chance Michin wins. Fine. Whatever. I mean, I say whatever only because how exactly did Michin get an opportunity here? Did I miss it? I dismiss it. I say it in a dismissive language only because when it's not clear how someone obtained or earned a title match, and we're just supposed to accept that it's there and also that it's on free TV, this goes for the men too. I kind of tune out. And also when you, on top of it, know strike three, that the champion is going to retain, it takes your level of interest down even further. But we did get some feedback, though, by the way, from Paul Heyman about The Rock. Now, Roman Reigns completely dismissed The Rock. He just laughed. He did exactly what he put on X. He emojied the whole thing, and I actually thought he would do that. that he was just going to do exactly what he put out on X, which is just laugh. And so he didn't respond directly, but Paul Heyman did. And Paul Heyman essentially said that The Rock is not invited to the table of relevancy, and nor would he be. That's the big line. The big line is because the fact that they're dismissing The Rock as you're not going to be invited, we're not going to accept a match with you, is essentially what that means by extension. We're not going to invite you into our world. So that tells me it's still in line with my thinking that Roman's going to be dismissive and laugh it off and say, we're not dealing with you, until The Rock forces his hand. In a way, as I said, I think I made this analogy before, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 26 costing The Undertaker the World Heavyweight Championship at Elimination Chamber, and that's when The Undertaker said, all right, you've got my attention, I'm whooping your ass at WrestleMania. I think it could be a similar story here with Roman and The Rock, where The Rock is being dismissed by Roman, and The Rock says, basically, he's going to do something extreme to get the attention of Roman Reigns. I think that's probably what's going to happen here. The weird thing is, like, why is The Rock chasing Roman? What's the motivation? We haven't got any promos yet, so I can't really get annoyed yet. And I'm not annoyed with the program at all. The fact that we're getting this program, it is a good thing. I know a lot of you Cody fans hate this, but it needs to happen. It's finally happening. But we will see. We will see how this whole thing plays out before I pass judgment on it. But Paul Heyman, dismissed it pretty quickly after saying that, and he was more concerned with the fatal four-way match that ended up happening, and Nick Aldis announcing at the end of the show that Roman Reigns, after interfering, has now earned himself a fatal four-way at Royal Rumble. So, but there is a case to be made for how is this not Orton and Roman one-on-one? I mean, to me, that's a story that needs to be told one-on-one. There's got to be a reason for the other two men being involved, because if the other two men aren't involved, you could easily put them in the Rumble and the fans would be happy. And Roman and Orton one-on-one, given that Randy Orton was out for 18 months, I think it's deserving. So I don't know what's happening here. I mean, I'm not sure. But there's a reason why these two men were also included. So I would imagine that one of them are there to take the pinfall. Either LA Knight or AJ Styles are there to take the pinfall so that Randy Orton can save face, Roman Reigns retains, and then maybe The Rock comes out and confronts Roman and gets his attention. Or he costs Roman the belt. Yeah. What about Randy or Rock distracting Roman, RKO on AJ Styles? Randy Orton covers AJ Styles and wins the belt. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here. So they added, I think the idea was to add an element of unpredictability to this, or create an out for Roman in this and out for Randy as well. So, this isn't going to be something that I think is meant for Roman to lose, but we will see. We will see. Now, I do also want to compliment Nick Aldis, who continues to be the perfect general manager. I really love it. He acts like a man. He doesn't cower to the whims of the bloodline. He does exactly what's needed. He steps in the spotlight when he needs to and steps out. He doesn't, overstay his welcome. He's a professional. He looks and acts it. Nick Aldis has been really fun and perfect. So I wanted to compliment that as well. All right, now before we go, I just want to answer one email I forgot on the mailbag this past week. It's from Kyle, New York Kyle. So I want to answer it, and then we'll be signing off here. So he says, hey, Matt and WWE Podcast family, it's New York Kyle back at it again. I know I am usually more of a voicemail guy, but I actually got COVID on New Year's Eve. And one of the symptoms I got is I'm starting to lose my voice a bit as I sit here in my room quarantined for 5 days. So I figured I'd just email instead of struggling to talk. Yeah, probably for the best. I had the same thing last Christmas, and it was horrific. So now, first off, I want to say before I got COVID, what an eventful Christmas and New Year's week I had personally. First off, I went to the Madison Square Garden live event last week on Tuesday because I live about an hour away from there by train. So the results were Becky Lynch defeating Zoe Stark, Kofi defeating Ludwig Kaiser, Katana Chance and Caden Carter defeating Chelsea Green and Piper Niven to retain the Women's Tag Team Championship. Drew McIntyre had a pre-taped promo on the big screen talking about the world title. Omos, that's an important point, with MVP defeats R-Truth in a squash match. Unfortunately, that is unfortunate. Rhea Ripley defeats Ivy Nile and Shayna Baszler in a triple threat to retain the Women's World Championship. Finn Balor and Damian Priest defeat Jey Uso and Sami Zayn to retain the Undisputed Tag Team Championship. And Sami Zayn got a scary injury and was carried out by a referee. CM Punk defeats Rey Mysterio with Rhea Ripley. Then Punk cut a promo about winning the Rumble. And then we went to intermission for about 15 minutes. Ricochet defeats Bronson Reed in a singles match. Cody Rhodes defeats Shinsuke in a bull rope match. Seth defeats Drew in a no DQ no countout match to retain the world title. And after the match, Seth Rollins did an awesome tribute to Luke Harper for Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt. What a show. I will say the biggest pops of the night. Punk was 1, Rollins was 2, Rhea was 3, Cody was 4, and Jey and Uso and Sami Zayn were both 5. That's awesome. I love hearing this stuff. That's a PLE quality card, Kyle. You understand? You just got an untelevised PLE. That's what you got. Next, you went to AEW World's End, but before the event, I know Matt watches JD from New York 206, and so do me and my brother. Yeah, and let me just say this. JD has a bigger platform than I do, but I love his work. If you don't know who JD from NY206 is on X, you've probably seen him on YouTube. He's got a big following. He's on TikTok. He's got a big following. He does a lot of video where I'm audio-based. Makes me wonder if I should go into video at some point. I think there's a whole platform I'm missing, an audience I haven't reached yet because I haven't done video. But I love JD. Okay, he cuts it in straights, shoots it straight. I can't talk straight, but he shoots it straight. He's brutal. He does cuss a lot, but he is honest and smart. I like JD. So cool. We actually saw that he was doing a meet up at the Green Turtle, and the restaurant was about 5 minutes from Nassau Coliseum where World End was. We actually got a picture with JD. Oh, dude, send it. I want to see. Now I'm not going through the whole card because that would take too long, but by far the biggest reaction of the night was MJF and Adam Cole revealed as the Devil. I'll dive into that another time because I want to go rest since I'm sick. Lastly, the Cora Jade report. Episode 3, this week on NXT. Cora didn't do much. She had a confrontation with Gigi Dillon, and that set up the match for next week. Hope everyone had a great Christmas, and I'll talk to you all next week. Well, thanks, Kyle. Get better. Hopefully by this point. You sent that 4 days ago, so hopefully you're feeling better at this point. So that pretty much wraps it up. Again, I know that I spoke a lot of I spoke on fewer topics, but in more detail rather than just kind of skimming over a lot of topics and not diving deep. But so you got a little bit of a different flavor of a show tonight, but I hope you enjoyed it. We are here about 6 to 7 days. Almost every day we publish a show. So if you like what you heard, head on over to Patreon, go ad free there. If you go up high enough in tier, we have an exclusive show for you. You get video, like the one I posted today for patrons. If you're on Spreaker and you listen through the Spreaker app, support the show. There's a support the show button, and you'll get our shows ad free as well. WWEpodcast.com. Apple has a subscription button. Lots of ways to get those ads out of your ears and just listen to wrestling talk. So, alrighty. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Tomorrow is the current state of WWE with Anthony DeMarco, and Tuesday's the Raw review. I think I have a co-host on Tuesday. I think I do. And then Wednesday is our mailbag. Now, one thing I'll say in closing, I will physically not be available, or should I say, I won't be in the country from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm coming back late Sunday. That doesn't mean I don't have access to Wi-Fi. I still have the internet. I'm not going to some remote place, okay? But I will be away for a few days. So I'll still try to post things from Thursday to Sunday. I will do my best, but I'll be in airports and a hotel and things like that. So posting may be a little bit funky from Thursday to Sunday. Just wanted to let you know. But I will still do my damnedest to make sure that your shows are up and running. But all right. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.